For regular videos on ancient cultures and forgotten civilizations, please subscribe. And for additional information, see the notes below the video. Welcome to the Antiquities Travel Guide. Follow us to different countries as we search for ancient artifacts. If you too wish to explore the ancient past through travel, we'll help you plan where to go, what to see, and how best to enjoy what you encounter. In this series of the ATG, you can accompany Cassie and me on our trek through the Yucatan Peninsula, homeland of the ancient Maya. Come on, let's go! After leaving the site of Etzna, we headed south on Route 186. The road started out smoothly paved, but conditions deteriorated rapidly after we passed Kikab. Soon, we were inundated with potholes, and we had to slow way down in order to navigate. On this side of the peninsula, there's no other road you can take unless you go all the way to the coast, so it's something we had to deal with. It may stress you out a bit, unless you're from Detroit, in which case you'll be used to it. It took us about an hour longer than our GPS originally told us. When we reached Centenario, we hit Route 186 and headed eastward. The road was much better, and we sped up. Soon we entered the Calakmul Biosphere Reserve, which is a large protected tropical forest. There are many endangered animal species that live here. The modern town of Xpujil is located in an area where there are many ruined Mayan cities to explore, the most prominent of which are Becan, Rio Bec, Chicana, Hormiguero, Balamku isn't too far away, and the ancient city upon which Xpujil is built, Xpujil. We chose to visit two of these on this trip, Becan and Xpuhil. We arrived at Becan first. The name for this place, Becan, is a contemporary Yucatec Mayan name invented by the archaeologists who worked here. It can be interpreted to mean either Way of the Serpent or Ravine of Water. The latter interpretation has to do with the moat that once surrounded the city. We don't know the ancient Mayan name. The moat was created in the late pre-classic between 100 and 250 CE to surround the ceremonial part of the city. The elite lived within, and everybody else lived outside. The name Becan means trench, and it's named for this trench that we're looking at right now, which you're standing in. It is 5 meters deep and 16 meters wide. It has a perimeter around the city of around almost 2 kilometers. And it was originally a moat. And some scholars believe it was used for defensive purposes. It is the only Mayan city that we know of that had a moat like this. Originally much deeper, the moat appears to have been partially filled about 700 CE. Not every Maya archaeologist believes the moat was a defensive feature. Some say it was used to separate and protect the ceremonial and elite residents from the peasants. Another theory is that it was used to collect rainwater and prevent flooding. Because of the moat, the ceremonial core is compact, which makes it easier for the tourists to walk. 7 entrances once crossed the moat and led into the city. Becan is a Category 2 site, a good size with plenty to see. Allow yourself at least 2 hours to see it. The city has over 680 structures, but only a handful have been explored or restored. You're allowed to climb most of the buildings. Cost 60 pesos, just like Etzna. We're in a remote jungle area, remember, so bring insect repellent and water. There are no restaurants or food vendors out here. The INAH that's the Mexican Institute of Anthropology and History, put informative plates everywhere, so it'll be easy for you to find your way around. They do this at a lot of the sites. When we entered the site, we immediately discovered an acropolis, a high platform containing many fantastic buildings. This is the backside of Structure 4. But before we went up to the Acropolis, the East Plaza, we decided to go around through the vaulted tunnel that leads to the Central Plaza. Like Xtampak and Edzna, Becan urbanized earlier than Xpujil, Kaba, and Xpujil. A village was built here as early as 550 BCE, and it advanced to a ceremonial center by around 300 BCE. From there, the city really took off. It was located on a convergence of trade routes going east-west and north-south. This advantage helped it to prosper. Trade goods from Teotihuacan have been found here. Around 500 CE, the population began to increase considerably. By the late Classic, Becan was a major political, economic, military, and religious center, and probably the dominant center of the Rio Bec region. It was one of the cities that fought against Tikal for dominance. Construction of major buildings stopped around 830 here, and it went into decline after that. In the northeast corner of the Central Plaza, you will see two massive pyramids, probably used for ceremonial purposes, and perhaps also as watchtowers. Structure 8 is the best restored. You can see the remains of two towers at the top. Next to it is Structure 9, which stands nearly 100 feet tall, and in which a tomb of an unidentified individual was discovered. Look at this pyramid behind me. They call it Structure 9, which is a little unromantic, but it was a temple, and it is the tallest of all the buildings here at Becan. And there was a temple at the very top of it. But unless you're standing here beneath its shadow, you can't really grasp how large this building actually is. An archaeologist fell off this pyramid in 1984, which rendered her paralyzed. It's a reminder to be careful when climbing any of these structures. Structure 10 is a building with 12 chambers distributed on 2 levels. Remnants of red and blue paint were found on its interior walls. Up at the top of Structure 10, which is also a temple, you can see a doorway, and on either side, you see the decor. Those are representations of the god Itzamna, who is the creator and an earth god, sometimes called an earth monster. So this temple was probably dedicated to that deity. But it's the rear side of Structure 10 that will make your eyes pop.
Really nice light right now. Sun's getting ready to set. Bet it's gonna look awesome on the other side.
This is my favorite section of Becan. Oh my. Look at this. This is magnificent. If you notice, the architectural style here is different than the styles we've seen further north. This is the Rio Bec style, and is typical for the southern part of the Yucatan. Rio Bec, named for the Bec River, is kind of a hybrid style, combining the styles of the Petén region of Guatemala with Chenes from central Campeche. This unique construction and design was popular here between the 7th and 12th centuries CE. Rio Bec characteristics include thick walls, high twin towers, false stairways and temples, walls with rounded corners, wide interior benches, giant stucco and limestone masks of unknown beasts, and those representing the earth god Itzamna. Stone blocks were cut to size and then covered afterwards with a layer of stucco. Itzamna isn't the only god important to this structure. On the south side can be found a carved mask of the sun god Xpujil. It's protected now by glass, so it was difficult to get a video of it, but by putting my phone right up on the window, I was able to get this shot for you. You can still see some red paint on it. We're easily recognizing ball courts when we see them. This one is 105 feet long and well preserved. I'll have a full examination of Maya ball games in my upcoming episode on Coba. Stay tuned. The path led us to the edge of the East Plaza. Structure 1's back wall forms one side of the plaza. Structure 1 has been around since the early years of the city and was continually modified over the centuries. Notice the twin towers, typical of the Rio Bec style. There are no rooms in them. They were only for show. There are all kinds of false stairways and fake entrances on this building, but there are real rooms, some of which are believed to have been used for religious purposes, such as bloodletting and other ceremonies, and other rooms as observatories. If you want to read up on ancient Maya practices, I suggest the book The Ancient Maya by Scherer and Traxler. I'll leave a link to it in the description below the video. Then up we went into the East Plaza Acropolis. Structure 2, which is only partially restored, must have been quite an impressive building in its day. It had many chambers and a highly decorated facade. There's a cool checkerboard design on it, and archaeologists believe there was once a temple on top. Structure 4 we had seen on coming in, and this is the other side of it. This is a fun pyramid to climb, and there are many passages and rooms. We finally made our way back down to the intermediate plaza we entered at the beginning.
So where is Becan on your list of sites so far?
Oh, that's a toughie. I was gonna say Esna, you can't beat it. But as far as the style of the buildings, I really like Becan because there's more nooks and crannies and little cool little stairways and things like that I really love.
Yeah.
The sun was setting, and it was time for us to find our Airbnb. We rented a whole house in Xpujil, which was clean and comfortable. The owner, Miguel, was really nice and easy to contact. If you come to Xpujil, we recommend you stay at his place. There was one issue, though, and that was the Wi-Fi. In this part of Mexico, we had issues both with cellular and with Wi-Fi, and it made it impossible for me to upload my videos to the cloud, so you should be aware. There's not much you can do. After settling in, we went out for supper and ate at the Bistro Mahahua. The food was good. The next day we went to Calakmul, but I'm saving that for next episode. When we came back from Calakmul, we visited Xpujil, and that's what I want to tell you about now. Xpujil is the ancient city upon which present-day Xpujil is built. Note the difference in spelling. The ancient city has an H, and the modern city has a J. This is a minor site, but it's super easy to get to. In fact, it was within walking distance of our Airbnb. Xpujil is only 4 miles east of Becan. The Mayan name Xpujil, meaning cat's tail, is the name of a common plant you find in this area. The site's open every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. like most sites. You'll find a parking lot and restrooms here. This ancient Mayan city was occupied as early as 400 BCE, and it reached its highest development, like Becan, in the late Classic period between 600 and 800 CE. A lot of it lies beneath the present-day town, and we observed that another set of ancient buildings was being uncovered a few blocks away. But currently, although the ancient city was about 3 square miles, there are just 4 structures here that tourists can visit. The buildings of Xpujil were built in the Rio Bec style, much as at nearby Becan. The site is small, a Category 3, and most people come here to see one structure in particular, Structure 1, known also as the Building of the 3 Towers. Having 3 towers instead of 2 makes this building unusual for this region.
We're here at Structure 1 in Xpujil. You can see behind me the central tower, which is 18 meters high. And then the building itself sits on a platform, which is 53 meters long and runs north to south.
You can see the skills of Mayan art here. The 3 entrances of the building are flanked by these beautiful facades with these faces of masks of deities in relief form. Another aspect of this architectural style are the non-functional staircases. Obviously, you can't mount the staircase, but it's there just for appearance sake.
So, what do you think of these?
Amazing, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that building. Oh, can you just imagine when it was brand new? There aren't a plethora of choices of places to eat in Xpujil, but we had noticed a pizza place called La Pizzetta that we thought we would try. The pizza was in no way Italian, and it wasn't made in a pizza oven, but we were satisfied, and there was a nice boy who served us and who could communicate well in English. He said he was studying it in school. The experience was pleasant enough. Next week's episode is one you won't want to miss, because we will be visiting the center of the greatest empire that the Maya ever created in the Yucatan. So make sure to subscribe and ding the bell to be notified when it comes out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.